Business as usual, baby. In the last video, we talked about how 2025 was a bad year for the Canucks. Now, we're going to dive into what can change in 2026, courtesy of our friends on Daily Faceoff. This is an episode of the DFO Rundown Insider Edition, and it featured former Vancouver Canucks insider Irfan Gaffar. Okay, that's kind of rude. I'm sorry, Irf. Not going to say former. Former Sportsnet radio host, we'll say that. It also featured David Pagnotta in the fourth period and some Canucks Army coverage as well. The tweet video reads this: Kiefer Sherwood is a volume hitter and a shooter who is on pace for over 30 goals this season. He's been a top trade target for weeks, and now the timing finally feels right for the pending UFA to be moved. Scrolling down, you can see that the header of the video says that we should expect a Sherwood trade soon. Okay, that's pretty great. The video has some commentary from Irfan Gaffar, David Pagnotta, and that's all fine and dandy. DFO Rundown does some pretty good work at summarizing the latest in NHL trade rumors, but to help us out with this, because I just don't want to take the clip of the video and copy and paste it, we're going to go over onto a tweet made by Vancouver's own Canucks News Summaries. Now, as always, big shout out to Canucks News Summaries for summarizing everything that is talked about in these radio hits, podcasts, broadcasts, and everything else. But I wanted to start this entire conversation with what is written at the top. If we go over here to the summary of the Daily Faceoff hit, we can see that the very first note is that Quinn Hughes went to his agent and asked to be traded. Now, there is a little bit of a discussion on the Twitter post itself. Petey's hairline went out there and said, hey, what's the source that told this guy that Hughes asked for a trade? And then Canucks News Summary said, well, it was stated by Irfan Gaffar. So if you want to demand he shares his sources, ask him. I wasn't demanding, I'm just curious where these insiders are getting this plethora of information. And, Petey's hairline, I'm sorry, man. The hairline might be disappearing, but it seems like you haven't been here for a while. This is how things go, especially for folks that have platforms in the media, on shows like Sportsnet, 650, Daily Faceoff. They usually have connections, people in the industry. So hearing that Quinn Hughes has indeed asked for a trade out of Vancouver, that's how everything went down. It's not surprising. I mean, it does change the narrative, I feel, a little bit from what we had heard and assumed earlier in the season. Because after Rutherford had his press conference post-Quinn Hughes trade, the implication was, there's this idea that Quinn might not be interested in signing, and therefore the Canucks decided at that point it was time to move him. And there was another idea that said, okay, Quinn told the team around Thanksgiving that he's not going to re-sign. So at that point, they wanted to kick the tires into moving him. But then Irfan Gaffar goes out there on DFO Rundown and he says, Quinn asked out. He made the request himself. He went to his agent and asked to be traded. Now, I do wonder, the biggest thing about this is that I wonder what that means for Elias Pettersson. Because Elias Pettersson, if you didn't realize, same agency as Quinn Hughes, same representation. So if one agent is being told by his client on Vancouver that, hey, I don't want to be here anymore. This team sucks. I don't want to stick around. I'm not going to re-sign. Get me out of here. I wonder what that does to the same agent when dealing with the same team, just with another player. Not that there's any negotiations that need to be done with Pettersson and the Canucks. He's already locked on $11.6 million for a long time. But I wonder if there is some sort of a, hey, Petey, how are you doing? Your buddy Quinn already asked out, and you're still on this team. I can help you get out of this team too, because I helped Vancouver get rid of Quinn. Like, there's some sort of an element there that I think we shouldn't ignore. But that's just my own speculation. That's just me going out there and spitting whatever is on the top of my head. The idea that Quinn did indeed ask his agent to get traded, it's not surprising. I mean, the team was so bad, and he wants to win as much as he wants to breathe. So, of course, it makes a lot of sense here. Let's get into some of the other conversations as well, because there is an update on Kiefer Sherwood. Trade talks have picked up over the last few days. Don't be surprised if something happens sooner rather than later. Canucks do not want to overplay their hand with Kiefer Sherwood, which I would probably say is a good thing. Don't overthink it. Don't hold on to the guy thinking that you can get more, only to just keep him on the team post-trade deadline like you did with Brock Besser last year. I know it technically worked out because Brock ended up re-signing, but now look at the guy. That is not a player that I think a lot of Canucks fans are happy to see suiting up for the Canucks at this point in time. He's so ineffective. Everyone knows that Kiefer Sherwood is available and that the asking price is a first-round pick and more, or equivalent value. So there we go with the Vancouver Canucks and the semantics again. First round pick plus or first round pick calibered player. They want to get younger. But if they can get guys that are available in the 20-year-old-ish range, it doesn't seem like they're going to shy away from doing that. It's been a failed strategy for the Vancouver Canucks when they get guys that are just a little bit too old, who are a little bit too far removed from being drafted. Liam Ogren and Zeev Buium are fine, but anybody older than that? We're thinking Vitaly Kravtsov, Daniel Sprong, Eric Bronstrom. I mean, a lot of these guys that were former top picks that had a lot of potential but just didn't work out. Hey, they didn't work out in Vancouver either. So Canucks seems like they're going to try to go even younger this time. At least that's what we hope, right? Going back over here, let's continue on. Teams that have had discussions before on Sherwood have circled back, so that's also pretty great to see. Teams are revitalizing their interest. Don't be surprised if Sherwood is traded in the first half of January or maybe even sooner. And then the conversation shifts to the trade deadline. Seems like there are two different trade deadlines this season, one at the Olympic roster freeze and another at the official March trade deadline. So, roster freezes coming in and causing teams to panic and make moves. That's not new. We saw during the December roster freeze, Mason Marchment and Philippe Deneau both got traded hours before that was put into place. Kiefer Sherwood should have gotten traded because he put up a hat trick against the Islanders in that same night. But, he's still in Vancouver, at least at the time of recording this audio. Maybe by the time the video is up on YouTube, the guy gets traded. There are a number of other things that are talked about here. Andrew Mangiapane, Toronto, the Maple Leafs, and then there are some conversations on the Hurricanes, Sabres, Flyers. Around the league, this is another note that I think is interesting to highlight. The guys on the broadcast, they think that there's going to be more trade action in January. And they also think that once Sherwood gets traded, it may get other teams to start talking trades. So seems like Sherwood could be the trendsetter in the market this year, no? Once he gets moved, then some of the other teams are going to be like, okay, fine, Vancouver's selling their guys, look at what they got, maybe we can get some assets too, or maybe we're at the bottom of the league as well, like Vancouver, so we can start selling guys off. I don't know if Winnipeg is going to do that, but really, they only have like a few players that are valuable anyway, and I don't think they'd be interested in moving any of those. Here's one of the last notes that is on the summary over here. New Jersey, they need some goal scorers. Dawson Mercer. Turns out he was a part of the trade discussions for Quinn Hughes. He doesn't have any trade protection and would consider moving him for a legitimate top six scorer. So Mercer, part of the Quinn Hughes talks. Canucks didn't want him. I think Marco Rossi is better anyway, so that's fine. But with all this in mind, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about these Canucks notes? Quinn Hughes did indeed ask to be traded. Kiefer Sherwood is going to get moved soon. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about all this? I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.